Hi, Pat. It's good to see you again. I'm so glad to have you back. And today I would love to talk to you more about the Break Free from Plastic Pollution Act that is coming before Congress this session. So take it away. Tell us all about it.
Okay, well, I think it's the most wonderful bill. To anyone who has a disdain for plastic, this is the bill you want. It is so all-encompassing, and it was originally introduced in 2020, and so now it's reintroduced this year, and it's even better than the first one. I love the first one, so this one's even better. So it's Representative Lowenthal from California and Senator Merkley from Oregon are the two bill sponsors. And it's Senate Bill 984 and House Bill 2238. So those are the bill numbers. So if you want to call your congressman, they always appreciate when you have the bill number. So that's a good thing to write down. So like I said, this bill covers so many bases, and it was so brilliantly designed that you can actually, states can pull out bills, individual little bills. So there is a bag fee bill within this. The bag fee bill, for example, is a 10-cent fee on plastic bags. And what they do is if they if the stores want to keep the fee completely, they would need to have a refund policy. So if you were to bring your own reusable bags in, you would get 5 cents back for that.
Is that similar to the days when we used to have bottle deposits for drinks?
Exactly. It's similar to that. But actually studies show that putting a fee on a bag is better for the behavior change as opposed to having someone bring their bag and get 5 cents. That loss aversion, it's a psychological terminology that losing something is more impactful than getting something. So so they do have the 10-cent fee. So that's a good thing. Any additional money would go to funding for grants for litter cleanup and reducing policies. So that's a nice thing. And when you mentioned the bottle fee, there is a bottle bill within this bill too. Again, a state could pull it out and use that bill individually. But bottle bills are probably the most effective plastic reduction action someone can take. Oregon has had the first bottle bill, and their numbers for recycling, I don't know exactly, but it's like in the 80%. Okay. Other people, their recycling rate for bottles without a fee is we all know, in the 10%. So it's remarkable how powerful that one bill in and of itself would be. So this would be, of course, federal, so it'd make life so much easier for everyone in every state. A big bill aspect of this is the what they call the EPR, extended producer responsibility. And what that does, it's actually kind of a complex system. However, simply put, it makes the polluter pay. So since the beginning of plastic, these bottle companies and all these plastic industry has been making plastic as much as they wanted to. And what happens to the end product? We, the taxpayers, are responsible for it. So an EPR, what that would do is it would make the producer responsible for their whole life cycle. So they would be responsible for their cleanup and improving the recycling of things. So the theory behind that is that with that push to make them do that, they would make products that are easier to recycle and make products that are reusable. So that is we actually had one of those bills. I was proud to say I worked on it at the state level this year, one of only 9 states in the country. But I believe this is going to be bubbling up. I think we're going to be hearing more and more about EPR. And of course, it'd be so much nicer if it was a federal bill. There's lots of nooks and crannies with EPR, so you can kind of make the bill that you would kind of like at a state level. But again, if we can get a state bill, that again would help this federal bill. But EPR is an important factor of this. Another really important aspect of this bill is they're going to do a study on derelict fishing gear. I mean, we all know how bad plastic is in our oceans, but actually fishing gear, mostly made out of plastic, is one of a horrible culprit to killing animals in the ocean. So they would do a study on that. A NOAA would be responsible for it. So science is always in every aspect of this bill. They will make mandatory filters on washing machines, on clothes washers, which is massive. Microplastics, that's probably one of the biggest places where plastic gets into our waterways, unfortunately, through water filters. They would want it to be started within the first 2 years. The government washer systems would be the first ones that would have to go in place. Businesses that are small businesses but use washing machines would get money to help them put these in, either to make new ones or to retrofit the old ones to get that. So that's, you know, they really studied this. They really looked at all aspects of the plastic pollution. So that's why I'm like super happy. There's a study just on microfibers into seeing how they can reduce microplastics, you know, not only by reducing, but how to help get rid of them. So that's another scientific study that will be in the works. They will have a whole aspect of reduce and reuse programs. How can we get these reuse models everywhere? How can we reduce things everywhere? Another powerful aspect of it. So those are some of the big highlights of it. And this new bill has also added environmental justice. We all know that these plastic factories are always in frontline communities, Black and minority communities, and they are the highest ones that are impacted. So not only environmental justice in respect of how can we stop these plants, but also they will allow, when we're educating people, to make sure everything is in their language. If a community has a population of more than 5% of a certain language, they will make sure that information that is being passed out is translated into those languages. So, you know, something as what we think is a simple thing, but, you know, that makes a huge impact on people understanding and getting behind the changes that have to happen. One of the biggest aspects of this bill is a 3-year pause on all plastic facilities. Right now in Beaver County, Pennsylvania, one of the biggest plastic factories are in the works, and it will be devastating for the community. So if we can get this bill through, hopefully we can get it in time to put a pause on that. And Formosa down in Cancer Alley, down in Louisiana, is another plant that they've been fighting, which is, I think, would be the biggest plastic factory plant. So to put a pause there.
These are factories that are under construction, under development, and we would put a pause on those being completed. Is that correct? Do I
Yes,
understand
all
that correctly?
new, right. All new and expanding plastic factories would have a 3-year pause, right?
Gotcha.
Right. So that's a real nice thing. And also another thing this bill would do is close the loophole on these aways. Okay, so we know that before China did this, the sword, that we were sending all this plastic to China. So now what's happening is that they're trying to sneak it into this place and sneak it into this place, all these other countries. So this will say, no, you can't do that. And another thing is what can happen is that a country might accept the plastic, okay, a company that is acceptable to accepting the plastic, but then they would send it to a country that doesn't have the capacity to truly recycle. So these third world countries. So that would close that loophole, that they would not be allowed to do that.
This sounds fantastic, because we have been talking for a long time that there are 2 parts to this plastic issue. One is dealing with the plastic we already have. What do we do with it? We don't want to be sending it to a landfill. We know that a very small percentage is actually recycled. So what do we do with it? But the bigger question is, how can we stop it from existing in the first place?
Mhm.
So it sounds like this bill is targeting that second half of this in reducing the amount of production that is happening in plastics and pushing corporations to find alternatives to this. Am I understanding that correctly?
Exactly, exactly. So it's all these upscale, upstream solutions. These are the solutions that we have to be working on, recycling and cleaning up. Those are all downstream. And we just, not that we we can't stop doing that either, but it's never going to end. That end of it will never end if we don't turn off the tap. That's the ultimate end of this story, and that this bill is really addressing that. So it's really exciting. And as far as the recycling aspect of it, they are increasing the amount of recycle rates that should be in items. So I don't know the exact number, but let's say by 2020 something, they want it to be 25% recycled content, and then gradually move all the way up to, I think, 80% by 2040. So they want to make sure that if there's a market for recycling, they will recycle more, and then there'll be less litter, so it's all this unbelievable domino effect that if we don't address every aspect of it, any one of those aspects, we could be in trouble. But
So what can people who are watching this video, what can they do on an individual level to help get this bill passed?
right, so the best thing they can do is right now, if they're in Maryland, I'm very proud to say that Senator Van Hollen has signed on, but Senator Cardin has not. We, as a group, met with him, and he still hasn't signed on, so we're a little disappointed. Earth Day is coming up. This would be a wonderful time to write to your representative and your congressman and say, this would be such a gift to the earth by passing this bill, if you could co-sponsor this bill. So I would highly recommend finding, if you're in a different state, finding out if they've already co-sponsored. As far as our representatives in Maryland, Representative Raskin, Representative Sarbanes, Representatives in Dutch Ruppersberger, I believe is the name, and also Representative Tron have signed on as representatives. So find out who your representative is. If he's not one of those in Maryland, call them, tell them they want to set up a meeting. You want to have a meeting with either them, of course, ideally, but usually it'll be a legislative aide, which is just as good. And tell them you want to have a meeting with them. And if they want some help, contact me. I'll be happy to be a point person, or of course, they're all Zoom meetings at this point, but, be in that meeting and help them out and write dialogue so they can get that point across. Because, but the best thing to do is just go from your heart. If you have a passion that this is wrong. I mean, we've had other interviews to talk about how frightening it is. It's truly getting to the point where frightening. They're saying now that there's so much microplastics in the soil that the plants that are growing is taking it up into their root system. So we are literally eating it when we're trying to do the good thing, like eating a carrot or an apple, and we're eating microplastics inside. So it's not like we can peel it off, So
Right. And there's no filtration system for fruits and vegetables,
right.
or even the animal products that we eat, the meats and such. There's no way to filter that out once it's been absorbed into the system. So
Exactly.
yes, very critical.
Exactly.
Well, we will post, I will post a link to the how to find out who your representative is in the comments to this video. And hopefully everyone will be able to reach out to their local elected official for Congress and the Senate to ask for support on that. So thank you very much, Pat. I appreciate your time as always. For those of you watching on YouTube, please make sure to like this video, subscribe, and leave us some comments and let us know what you think about it. And until next time, thanks so much.